Hey, what's up, people? Piz out here, and today I want to talk to you guys about a movie that is very near and dear to my heart, and also talk to you about the Criterion Collection Blu-ray release of the film. And the film that I'm talking about is Terrence Malick's The Thin Red Line. And I'm going to start off talking about the Criterion Collection Blu-ray release of the film, talk about the special features, etc., and then kind of dive into my thoughts and feelings and what the movie kind of means to me. So it'll probably be a fairly lengthy video, and I might be all over the place in this video, so just kind of bear with me. But first and foremost, the Criterion Collection Blu-ray release of the film, that is the cover, beautiful cover there. We're treated inside with a full cover, very nice, very thick booklet. Talking about the cast, the crew. There's two very nice essays in the film. The first one by David Sterrett, who talks a lot about Terrence Malick's Terrence Malick's career a little bit and some of the deeper aspects of the film. And very interesting read. We also have an essay by James Jones, who actually wrote the book, The Thin Red Line. It was published in 1963, not long after the actual publication of The Thin Red Line. And of course he's talking about phony war films. James Jones was a World War II veteran himself, so basically he's talking about how all the Hollywood war films of the time just really got it wrong. And James Jones also wrote From Here to Eternity, the novel that the film was based on. So we have a very nice full-color booklet there, two cool essays, a lot of information about the movie, so on and so forth. And very cool stuff there. The picture and the sound quality, the HD transfer was supervised by Terrence Malick and John Tall, who was the cinematographer. And I have to say, the picture and the sound quality on this disc are among, if not the best, of any Blu-ray that I've ever seen. The Thin Red Line is already loaded with so many just beautiful images and imagery, but to see it in high def was awesome. The sound quality, oh my god, just clear as a bell, just perfect. I mean, I give it audio video quality a perfect 10 for this release. Just absolutely amazing, stunning, wow. So as special features go, the thing is absolutely loaded. We have got an audio commentary featuring cinematographer John Tall, production designer Jack Fisk, and producer Grant Hill, where they talk about the production of the film, raising money for the film, working with Terrence Malick, his directing style, which is very unique to say the least. They talk about every aspect of the film. Really interesting commentary. If you're a fan of The Thin Red Line, by all means, you certainly need to listen to the commentary. Really enjoyed that commentary. We get interviews with several of the film's actors, including Kirk Acevedo, Jim Caviezel, Thomas Jane, Elias Koteas, Dash Myhawk, and Sean Penn. We have that's a very long special feature talking to those actors about what it was like to work with Terrence Malick, his directing style, how he would direct a scene three different ways. He would direct the scene at the magic hour, he would direct the scene in perfect sunlight, and he would direct a scene in overcast weather, so that he could use the scene in any point during the film, which I thought was really interesting. He would also shoot a scene with dialogue and then turn around and shoot the exact same scene with no dialogue, which again, very, very interesting. Really, really cool interviews with those guys talking about Terrence Malick and just their experience working on the film, and really, really cool stuff there. We get an interview with the composer Hans Zimmer. Again, another really in-depth, very cool interview with him talking about working with Terrence Malick on composing the music for the film, and sort of how Terrence Malick thought of music sort of as color. He would talk about a color, and Hans Zimmer would try and compose music with just sort of, okay, this color in mind, really. So yeah, very, very interesting interview there with him. We have interviews with Billy Weber, Leslie Jones, and Sarah Klein, who were editors of the film. Again, they talk about, they had shot, Terrence Malick had shot, well over 1 million feet of footage. And they said usually about 6,000 feet is roughly an hour. So, I mean, divide 6,000 by 1 million. That's how much footage that these editors had to kind of sift through to put the film together. They talk about the first cut of the movie, which was like 5 hours long, and then having to go back and kind of trim it away, and how Terrence Malick in the cutting room, really how the film sort of took shape in the cutting room, how Malick really turned the film from, sort of being more dialogue heavy into being more voiceover heavy. And, really, really interesting special feature with those guys. Very long, very in-depth, very, very cool. There's an interview with Kaylee Jones, who's James Jones's daughter. She basically just talks about her father, talks about the film. We have a new interview with casting director Diane Crittenden featuring archival audition footage. This one was very, very interesting to see just how many actors auditioned for the film. People like Josh Hartnett, Crispin Glover, Philip Seymour Hoffman, just the list goes on and on and on. And they have that archival footage of their auditions, and I mean, we see audition footage from Elias Koteas and from Dash Myhawk, and that was very cool. She very, very cool interview with her. I think that was amongst my favorite special features on this disc, talking about just the casting process, working with Terrence Malick on actually casting the film, and there were so many roles to cast, and just really amazing special feature there. Really cool interview with her. We get 14 minutes of outtakes from the film. We see quite a few, it's interesting, quite a few pretty well-known actors had relatively small parts in the film that got cut out. Mickey Rourke being one of them. I've always wanted to see Mickey Rourke's footage from this film, and it's included on here with a lot of with some other cool deleted scenes. We get some World War II newsreel footage from Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands. Onesian Chants, original theatrical trailer, plus a booklet featuring the essays of film critic David Sterrett and 1963 reprint of James Jones's essay that I talked about. All in all, just an amazing collection of special features on this disc. Everything that you'd ever want to pretty much need to know about the film is on that disc, aside from an actual interview with Terrence Malick himself, who's famous. He's been called the J.D. Salinger of the film world. Very famously, he refuses to do any kind of interviews or discuss his films really at all, which I find to be pretty fascinating. As a matter of fact, this was the first film that he had done in 20 years. He did a film called Badlands and a film called Days of Heaven. Both of them, highly critically acclaimed, just beautiful, amazing films, and then just more or less disappeared for 20 years, and then returned with big budget, epic war film, The Thin Red Line. And The Thin Red Line was released in the late 90s, and I just recall at that time there was just this influx of what seemed like just patriotism across the country. And there were a lot of war films being released. And the movie Saving Private Ryan was actually released not long before The Thin Red Line was, and I really had no intention of watching Saving Private Ryan because I thought it looked schmaltzy. It looked just, I don't know. It just looked a bit much for me. I didn't really care to watch it. And when The Thin Red Line was released, it was released sort of in the wake of Saving Private Ryan, and Saving Private Ryan sort of got all the attention, and The Thin Red Line more or less flew under the radar. And I was having a discussion with a friend of mine. Actually, one day we were fishing, and I asked him about The Thin Red Line, and he said, "It's excellent. You should see it." I went out, I rented it on VHS, and 3 hours later, I was blown away. I was just in awe. I had never seen a film like The Thin Red Line in my life, a film so poetic, visually, as well as, you know, the film is mostly told through voiceovers of, you know, some of the main actors, and just as what they called in the special features on the film, just an everyman kind of voice, just one voice that's not an actual actor in the film, but just sort of a voice that was supposed to embody the everyman. And it was a film that hit me on a lot of levels. I mean, on a very emotional level, as well as a intellectual level. The images in the film, the imagery in the film, very symbolic, very powerful. I mean, we have so much beautiful nature photography that's sort of offset and juxtaposed against, you know, the chaos and the violence and the death of war. There's a sequence in the film where, in the midst of this heated battle, there's a soldier who's got his head down in the dirt, and he looks over, and there's a bird egg hatching, and, you know, there's life emerging around all this chaos and death. So much just really symbolic imagery of, you know, just the forest and just of nature and of the animals and birds and stuff. Was just so blown away by that aspect of it. The acting, just great acting all around. Jim Caviezel's character, Private Wit, I mean, clearly he's the heart and soul of the film. He's almost a Jesus type character, a character who is, you know, maybe the last and only character who has really any semblance of humanity, or what he calls, you know, the spark inside of him. You have sort of, you know, the cynical character, Sean Penn's character, who's always sort of, you know, clashing with Jim Caviezel's character. They have some really awesome conversations in the film. Elias Koteas, I think, gives the best performance of his career. There's an amazing moment in the film where Nick Nolte, and of course Nick Nolte's awesome. Nick Nolte's awesome in everything. He's commanding Elias Koteas to command his company, Charlie Company, to basically march into their own deaths. It's a suicide mission, and he refuses. He refuses to send his men off to die. And afterwards he is discharged. And there's just an amazing, just so beautiful voiceover. He's telling his men that, you know, he's leaving them, and that he felt very close to them. And then in the voiceover, as he's flying away, he tells them, you know, he says, you know, you are like my sons, you live inside me now. Just really powerful stuff, and it was just hitting me from all these levels. And it had been such a very long time, maybe the first time that I actually watched a film and I just felt choked up several times during the film. And, you know, a lot of movies, even the ones that are intended to tug at those heartstrings and choke you up and elicit some tears, they don't work on me. This film that didn't, you know, go out of its way to do that did. I mean, it really hit me on, like I said, just a multitude of levels. And I found it just incredibly powerful and incredibly moving. I mean, there's just so much to be said about this film. I could go on and on and on about the, you know, the some of the more deeper symbolic meanings in the film, and but there's really no need. It's, for me, one of my all-time favorite movies, if not maybe my all-time favorite movie. It's an epic. It's 3 hours. It's the kind of movie that a lot of people have criticized for being just, you know, unfocused, having no plot, you know, just being all over the place. But for me, the fact that it does maybe lack a little focus here and there, the fact that there is no plot, to me, makes it feel more real than just your typical schmaltzy, you know, war movie. The overly sort of heroic, patriotic kind of war films. I think the thing that I took from the film was, you have a lot of great characters in the film. You have a lot of huge actors in the film. John Travolta, George Clooney, Nick Nolte, Sean Penn. I mean, Woody Harrelson. I mean, the list goes on and on. So many actors wanted to work with Terrence Malick just based on his, just based on the fact that he's sort of an enigma. He had done, like I said, those two amazing films, and then just disappeared. And 20 years later, he came back with this film. So many actors wanted to work with him, and but there is sort of no central lead. There's no star in the film. The film's about, the everyman, the war, not just a war, but the war within ourselves. I mean, the thin red line. The title of the book, the title of the film, classic, the old saying, there's a thin red line that separates the sane from the mad. That's definitely something to think about. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because I'm gonna trail off into God knows what. I think I've babbled on enough about the thin red line. If you haven't seen the thin red line, I highly, highly recommend it. This would definitely be the addition of the film to get amazing picture and audio quality, amazing special features. This has got to be one of the best Blu-ray editions of any film that I have ever seen. You've got great, in-depth, detailed special features. You actually watch the special features and feel like you're learning something about the film and about the filmmakers, and that's a big plus in my book. And yeah, I highly, highly recommend the film and this edition of the film. If you've seen the Thin Red Line, please let me know what you think of it. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Yeah, share in the comments section below. And until next time, you guys take it easy. Peace.